for being here today. Let's dive right into it. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you want to connect with?
Thanks, Brandon. Hi, everyone. So thanks for having me on. I'm Naomi Ali. I am based just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and my business is virtual. So I'm the CEO of NNALI, a coaching and consulting business championing conscious leadership, where mindset and well-being thrive for the greater good. So I help leaders lead within first, so they can be present and lead harmonious teams. And my vision, NNALI's vision, is a new era of leadership where conscious leadership is the norm and not the exception.
Conscious leadership. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So when you think about conscious leadership, it's funny because I did a TikTok video about this, kind of poking fun of people think, meditating. And yes, when you're my client, I will ask you to, if you're not already meditating, to do it. But it's not just that. It's really around prioritizing self-awareness. And that is huge and so needed. It's taken for granted, actually, in the leadership space. So think of it as self-awareness and mindfulness. And it's value-based decisions. So it involves being fully present, so being conscious, and leading with intention and purpose. So conscious leaders value empathy and compassion and communication and the well-being of others.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're right. I think conscious leadership is one of those things that's not very common, and it definitely should be more common. Meditating and being mindful is something that I have definitely started trying to work on as well. So maybe we should chat.
Yes. And it has huge health benefits as well. And when you're a leader and you are tasked with leading others, and especially when we were in the pandemic. So I came from the corporate world. I was in corporate for over 20 years and I burnt out. So I say my journey is from burnout to breakthroughs, which is one of my core offers. And I know we're going to talk about that in a minute, but really it's understanding that inner journey of who we are. And leadership, I say leadership is not a title, and conscious leadership is not a style. It's a way of being. So anyone can practice conscious leadership, practice that self-awareness and understanding what your triggers are, and understanding how to respond in a moment or not to respond in a moment. So it's just really that inner journey and understanding mindset. And I should also mention that I'm a certified transformational coach and an NLP master practitioner and coach. And so that's really looking at, think of it as a model of communication. So I was in corporate communications for many years. So now it's interesting how my specialty was internal communications. And now it's internal communications of a different kind between self, so yourself and the environment, and understanding how you interact. So once you have an understanding of those blind spots and triggers and any limiting beliefs that you may be running, it's a game changer.
Love it. I love it. No, I love it. It's totally true. It's totally true. I think something like this would be amazing for, part of my background was I spent 8 years in the military, and I think this would be perfect for military leadership.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, you're right. As a matter of fact, so Tony Robbins is NLP, essentially, if you want a real popular example of it in practice. And what he does is incredible in terms of his work. But when it comes to the military and you think about that performance mindset as well, yes. And a lot of practitioners, not a lot, but a few practitioners do specialize in what they call performance mindset using NLP.
I love it. Well, what is your core offer? I mean, I would ask you what separates you, but I can tell you I've never really heard of any coaches doing what you're doing. So what's your core offer? What are you doing?
Right. So core offer is for leaders. So I like to do like a core offer for individuals. So when a leader comes to me, the core offer is a breakthrough program. And a breakthrough is a 6-week process where a leader is going to come to me, with overwhelm and running a high risk of burnout or burnt out. And they essentially want you. So my niche is women in leadership roles. I support all leaders, but that's the niche. And they come to me with overwhelm or running a high risk of burnout. And what I do is help them move from that state to a breakthrough process to regaining their effectiveness. And that's done through transformational mindset coaching. So the core offer for individuals is that 6-week breakthrough program, which I've had phenomenal results with that. And then with organizations, so I work with organizations as well. And with them, it's really, think of it as a retainer, a la carte type of a retainer offer. So it's one-on-one coaching for their leaders, it's group coaching, and it's workshops. So right now I'm offering a self-awareness workshop because again, it's so McKinsey actually came out with a 2023 research study that showed that one of the 10 shifts that's transforming organizations, one of the 10 shifts that's needed, self-aware leaders.
I
So,
love it.
Yeah.
Being able to connect with with people that are individuals, and then at the I want to say the corporate level,
Yes.
able to offer this to corporations that have these high volume workplaces with lots of people working there. I mean, it's a lot of times a lot of this stuff can just be thrown under the rug and forgotten about because they're trying to reach all these goals and meet all of these KPIs. So that's
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, can you share with us one of your best client stories, either with a business or a personal client?
Yes. So I had a CEO reach out to me, and she is the CEO of a multi-million-dollar real estate development company, and she's in the States. So again, my business is virtual. And she was running a high risk of overwhelm and burnout. And she was making some pretty critical errors in her work. And she also works with her husband. So there was that added complexity.
Yeah.
And so when she came to me, she was in that state of, I need help. And so we through that 6-week process, because the reason it's a breakthrough program is when you've had a challenge for a particular period of time, like it's persistent and you've tried other things and it's just not working or giving you the results that you need. And so essentially I helped her rather understand what's her mindset, understand what's that, I call it a mindset strategy. So think of it as like these little variables, right? These little components that create a thought process. And what's not working? One of those components is faulty, and it's causing this sort of patterned behavior in this cycle. So we do an assessment, we go through that work, and we basically break through those mindset barriers. And we arrived at her, and it's with the type of work I do, which is what makes the work I do unique, is you get results immediately. Like there's one technique I use, a client can get to the root cause of an issue. Think of it as 3 layers: presenting problem, issue, and then root. We get right to the root, bring it up into awareness and resolve it. And that can be done in as little time as 3 hours. The key to success for my clients is their 100% commitment and participation in the process. I'm just a guide, so I'll facilitate them and I'll give them the tools and techniques. I love to train, I love to teach. So I teach how to sustain the results we're seeing. So with this particular client, she moved from making these errors and mistakes, recognizing that she needed help, which is incredible, stepping into this process. And at the end of it, she started noticing during the process shifts in her thinking, in her approach, and in her relationship. So it saved her relationship.
Wow.
As well as her business and her presence in her business, because she wanted to be present. She wanted to be mindful in her business. And she wanted to regain her effectiveness, which is something, as someone that had burnout, I 100% relate to that. You want to kind of get back to that person that was in top form, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. I can probably more times than I can count the amount of times that I've gone through the whole burnout and then peak and then burnout and then peak, and it is definitely exhausting. So being able to stay in that peak phase without burning out, I can see a lot of value in that for sure.
Yeah. And you have the sustainment tools afterwards. So you learn, oh, I'm coming, like right now as an example, I'll use myself as an example. So going from corporate to entrepreneurship, massive change. And as entrepreneurs, when you're in business for yourself, you're working 24/7, really. And so I have to be very mindful of what are my, I call them like these guardrails, these electric guardrails. Like I've got to know my capacities that I don't start encroaching on what could be that high risk of burnout. And when you have these tools in place and these learnings in place, it's immediate and it helps you sustain that so you don't hit that burnout period again.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. And this is, so I take it this business is going pretty well for you.
You know, it is, but I have to say it's referral based and it's wonderful, but I have a big mission. I have a really big mission, which is why I'm participating in conversations like this. And that mission is to really champion conscious leadership and really influence leaders to really take that inner journey of leadership, because the future of leadership, you know, the future of leadership is human. A lot of people are concerned about artificial intelligence. We can go on about that, but it's really human intelligence, right? It's that human component. And so at that, you know, it's just really, it's time for me to grow and scale and to really work with organizations and groups of leaders.
I love it. Well, how can people connect with you? What's the best way?
So they can email me. They can visit NNALI.com. So that's 2 N's. That's NNALI.com. I'm actually reworking the website, but that's all right. It's really straightforward right now. And they can contact me through there.
NNAL, you said I or Y?
ALI. So it's 2 N's. It's basically a shortened version of my name. So it's NNALI.com, NNALI.com.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to make sure I put that in the live here after this, after we get off. That's awesome. So you just want people to reach out to you through there, or can they reach out to you on Facebook or anything like that as well?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
For sure. Make sure you get you tagged in there. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And everybody that's watching this, if you're watching it live, make sure you, again, you comment #live. And if you're watching the replay, #replay. And if you haven't done your 15-minute interview yet, comment #BLN live interview, and someone from our team will reach out to get you set up. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Brandon.